Brought to you by Podcast City Network. You're listening to The Everett Lee Show, a shot of entertainment to the head. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the entertainment.
Welcome everyone to The Everett Lee Show podcast. I'm Everett Lee. Quick shout out to all my followers on Twitter. You can follow me at TheEverettLeeShow, Facebook.com/TheEverettLee. Stop by there and click the like button. And the official website of The Everett Lee Show, everettleeshow.weebly.com.
Well, here we are at the second recording episode of 2018. Not the second episode of The Everett Lee Show. That'd be crazy. That'd be time warp right there, man.
Damn!
That's right. Well, I'm excited about this episode, what we have on the program for episode, I believe we're up in the 70s now. We're getting close to that triple digits, man. We're getting close. I want to thank McShaft for last week on episode 69. 69. I'm happy about that. That was a really good way to start 2018, come out of the gates with an episode like that. I'm happy. Couldn't be more ecstatic about everything that's going to be happening on especially this episode here. Got some entertainment happenings. Gonna mention about Netflix February 2018 movies and TV titles. Gonna run down some of those. Talk about the third Cloverfield movie coming out. Got some news on that there. And a title for the movie, possible title. Then we have the Mirakuru Lounge segment. Going to talk about last week with the return of the CW shows and Jessica Jones Season 2 return. And Brie Larson researching Captain Marvel and the Ant-Man and the Wasp plot details. Then later, we're going to have Chris Carnage, who's coming back on the show. He hasn't been on the show since, I think, episode 61 when I had my birthday bash with guest Sean Phoenix. Shout out to Sean Phoenix, man. What's up? And yes, I think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Little inside joke there between me and Sean, debating on Twitter around the holidays. On the in-ring report, gonna talk about Raw 25. And of course, Smackdown Live and the news going around mentioning about Enzo Amore. What's going on with that right there? He's been making headlines this week. And I'm going to mention just briefly about the Roman Reigns steroid scandal, where his name was dropped in the in-ring report section. And also some New Japan Wrestling news and Ring of Honor news coming from McShaft on the in-ring report. But as always, thank you for downloading. Thank you for listening to the Everett Lee Show podcast. You could find the Everett Lee Show podcast on Apple iTunes. Be sure to give us a star rating, 5-star rating, and leave a comment and share with friends and family. Also, you can find the Everett Lee Show on Libsyn, everettleeshow.libsyn.com, the official upload site for the Everett Lee Show podcast. And you can download and listen to the Everett Lee Show on Stitcher Radio. Download that app for your smartphone and tablet. And of course, the YouTube channel, Everett Lee Show, is on YouTube. Type in Everett Lee Show on YouTube and I'll pop up on there. Kind of a variety of things to listen and watch on the Everett Lee Show YouTube page. And for interview sections, just the interview sections, head over to dailymotion.com/EverettLeeShow for interview sections. Have a few interviews up, ranging from indie wrestlers such as Sean Phoenix, Johnny Knockout, to film director Thomas Ryan and Todd Starutch, and much more interviews on Daily Motion page, dailymotion.com/EverettLeeShow. Well, this has been one busy week with a lot of things going, and busy week, should I mention about the Podcast City Network? That's right. We are a few weeks in. The Podcast City Network brings you a wide variety of podcasts, ranging from this show right here, The Everett Lee Show, ELS Uncut, Films a Classic, which those two are Podcast City Network exclusive podcasts for the network, and coming soon, the Chris Carnage Show, and the Imaginarium podcast with Scott Colbert and titles.The, and Super Radio Brothers podcast with Rich, Mark, and Ben. And coming soon, the Grimlock Show, and another show with McShaft, which he's still ironing out. It's exciting. You can find all this on the Podcast City Network, podcastcity.net, for the official website of the Podcast City Network. You can follow Podcast City Network on Facebook, facebook.com/Podcast City Network, and follow Podcast City Network on Twitter at Podcast City Net. Yeah, it's been really exciting. We announced this week 2 new shows coming to the Podcast City Network. Well, actually, one new show. The other show has been axed. The Deep South Cooking, or Dirty South Cooking, with McShaft has been axed. Hasn't even got off the ground yet. It's been axed because details are still getting aired out on what direction that podcast is going to go, or the type of podcast that McShaft's going to be introducing. And like I said, with the crazy week and everything, it's just been busy with all the feedback, the positive feedback on the network. I'm excited. I'll mention it. If I didn't mention it before, the Podcast City Network was created by myself and Chris Carnage. I brought the idea up about last year. I said, trying to join all these networks and get rejected, why don't we just start our own network? And I am going to say this is early, but you can hear a lot about probably what I'll be asked about the network coming up here in the next few weeks. I've been honored as a guest on Scott Colbert and titles.The Imaginarium podcast with those guys. They've asked me to come on. Gonna get on later this week and talk about anything. I don't know what we're gonna be talking about, but it's gonna be fun. It's always fun talking with Todd, and it's definitely gonna just be a blast. I'll be actually talking to Scott Colbert for the first time, and not via messages going back and forth about Podcast City Network stuff and other questions and stuff, which I love talking to Scott, but it'll be the first time I actually get to talk to Scott. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait to see what is going to happen with that episode. And that episode will probably be released later on within the few weeks. And when it does pop up, again, you can check it out on the Podcast City Network over at podcastcity.net, the official website. Let me jump into some entertainment happenings right here. Little segment. Want to start out and develop and see where this segment goes here. Netflix. Looks like February 2018. Movies and TV titles are announced on February 2018 for Netflix. A lot of things, a lot of changes, a lot of stuff, a lot of content are going to be adding to the streaming service. Reporting from comingsoon.net on this article right here. And the Netflix February 2018 movies and TV titles have been announced and can be viewed below on the screen here. There's a bunch of stuff coming out here, and they're subject to change on the date and everything. You can view the titles disappearing from Netflix on this article here at the below. There's a lot of stuff leaving. There's a lot of stuff coming on. I'm going to mention right here one name I see jumping off the screen coming out February 1st. Goodfellas. That's a good movie. That's a classic one. That might be something up for a film's a classic later on down the road. Just thinking about it. Kill Bill Volume 1, Volume 2, Lara Croft Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie. We got the Meet the Fockers, Meet the Parents, Men in Black, Ocean's 11, 12, and 13. Good movies right there. The Hurt Locker, Z Nation Season 4 is coming. Looks like on February 2nd we have Cabin Fever. February 6th, Fred Armisen Stand Up for Dummies. It's a Netflix original. Valor Season 1 is coming to Netflix. I've seen that. Excuse me. I've seen that advertised on CW. When I'm watching CW shows, I might have to check that out. If I get time to, with all the TV and stuff I watch and movies. Trying to look right here. I'm scrolling down the list. Anything else jumps off? Okay. Here you go for anime fans. We got on February 19th, Full Metal Alchemist. And February 20th, Bates Motel Season 5. And we're going down. Okay. Here's one I definitely want to see. February 24th, Jeepers Creepers 3 is coming to Netflix. We're scrolling down the list here. Okay. Here's the bad news. Here's what is leaving. February 1st. We have stuff going all the way down to Hard Candy, to King Arthur, to Night Watch, to Project X. I didn't even know that was on there. I gotta watch that before it leaves. Went to the theaters to see that back in the day. Nightmare Before Christmas is leaving? Are you kidding me? Might as well just go out and buy it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. Good. I didn't really care for that. Looks like February 14th, we have Family Guy seasons 1 through 8 leaving. Might as well go on Amazon.com and buy the box sets. Burn Notice season 1 through 7. I think that's just the whole season, the whole series there. I'm going to have to check that out. Jane Got a Gun, February 24th. February 28th, American Genius. And that's it for the list right there. Be sure to check out the new shows coming out in February. And the stuff I mentioned on the list, you better check that out before it leaves in February. So, better get to binge watching on Netflix there, ladies and gentlemen. Better get binge watching. Cloverfield Station. Is that the title for the next Cloverfield movie? ComingSoon.net is reporting that Paramount Pictures recently began a viral promotion for the upcoming untitled third Cloverfield movie, previously known as God Particle, which will be released on April 20th, 2018. A Reddit rumor has now pegged a potential title for the film as Cloverfield Station, which seems to make sense given the film's unofficial logic line. Proof came after a Redditor discovered an FX lighting artist named Ray, on LinkedIn. I didn't even use that site, but besides the point, had listed Cloverfield Station among his credits. Since then, a Facebook account and Instagram account has been discovered for the title, as well as a domain name for CloverfieldStation.com and CloverfieldStationMovie.com. Of course, none of this is remotely official yet, but may have similarly been created by fans last year after the logline was revealed. But we'll have to wait and see if this is the title. If it is, from what everything was speculated last year on this, I would say that would be something, because if you remember, the second Cloverfield movie was 10 Cloverfield Lane. If you didn't catch that, hell of a movie, man. I went to theaters and seen that. John Goodman, God, man, he killed it in that movie. He killed it with a performance, man. If anyone ever asked me, said, what are the best things John Goodman's ever done, I'm going to have to say Roseanne and 10 Cloverfield Lane. That's what John Goodman would be known for to me. Now, the third Cloverfield movie, okay, the plot on the untitled movie is said to revolve around an American space station that, after an incident with a particle accelerator, suddenly finds that Earth has vanished altogether. Things get stranger when they pick up traces of another space station nearby, not a train. Let me silence my phone here. Whenever I try to do podcasts, I get people calling me all the time, texting me, messaging me, voicemail, all that good stuff. Well, the untitled Cloverfield movie will be directed by Julius Owen from Girl Is in Trouble, and it was originally scripted by Freaks of Nature and 22 Jump Street, Oren Uzela. I'm probably saying that wrong. The project was rewritten by Stars Beyond Doug June. Are you excited for this third Cloverfield movie? I am. I definitely am. I went to the theaters to see Cloverfield 1. Loved it. My ex-girlfriend didn't. I dragged her into it. It was like one of those scenarios where basically you drag your date to a movie they don't want to see. That's what I did. And I had to basically drag her to it. She didn't really like it. I did. I loved it because I loved the concept of it at the time and everything. I thought it was great. People may take a dump on it, but to me, that's still one of my favorite movies, just the way it was done and everything. 10 Cloverfield Lane was just excellent too, with the performance of John Goodman. Everyone's performance in that movie was excellent. And I just loved how it kind of went in with the timeline with everything that was happening. So, just really, really good. But that's right there. Some entertainment news I have for this week that I wanted to mention and talk about. Trying to wake up here. I got my cup of coffee. I'm talking. Everything gets messed up. This is what happens when you have to solo stuff at the beginning of a podcast. And especially just doing your own thing. McShaft, he's at work, working his other job. Chris Carnage is working or probably updating the podcastcity.net website. Me, I'm sitting here in my pajama bottoms, drinking a cup of coffee. Folgers at its best. And throwing out some content for you. I love it. I definitely do love it. Well, I'm going to jump into the Mirakuru Lounge segment. And let's talk about these CW shows coming back last week to the CW. And those shows I'm talking about is Supergirl, The Flash, minus Legends of Tomorrow, which comes back in a few weeks in February. The premiere of Black Lightning and Arrow returning from their mid-season hiatus. Except Black Lightning. Black Lightning was a new show that was introduced. So I'm looking really forward to Black Lightning. And you're about to hear what I have to say about that right here in the Mirakuru Lounge.
The Mirakuru Lounge.
All right. CW shows returned last week. Supergirl returned. All I got to say about Supergirl is it did well. It did well. Introducing Brainiac 5. And the whole premise of this episode was Kara was still in her coma after getting the stomped out of her by Rain. And Brainiac 5 gets inside Kara Danvers' head, Supergirl, and is basically trying to wake her up and get her out. Because Rain is running around becoming a basically judge, jury, executioner, killing criminals and thinking she's doing good. Meanwhile, everyone has to figure out how to stop Rain, what to do while Supergirl is out of commission, and the fact that she is trapped inside her head, and Brainiac 5 trying to get her out. Good episode. Not way, like, out of the gates, you know, with what happened with that cliffhanger last. We saw Supergirl falling off the building and getting knocked out, like I mentioned. It was an alright episode. I didn't expect anything too far-fetched or too short with this episode. I really did enjoy it. And especially next week's episode that followed. I will mention that on next week. See, I gotta throw everything like a week behind because they got Arrow way out down the line. If they had everything up at the beginning like they did last year, or not last year, this is 2018 for God's sakes. If they had everything like they did last year, or in 2016, where they had the schedule, where they had it to where all the shows were at the beginning of the week, I can give you at the end of the week a good Mirakuru Lounge segment. But no, I got to go a week behind because I got to catch up with everything. We saw the premiere of Black Lightning. All I got to say about Black Lightning is electrifying, man. Really, really good show. I cannot wait to see what happens. The premise of Black Lightning is a retired superhero basically comes out of retirement because of everything going on in the community and just how bad the community has gotten. And the community needs a hero to step up and clean it up, and that's Black Lightning right there. He's a principal with 2 daughters in his school, and one of them gets in a lot of trouble, gets into it with a local like gang, and I guess one of his main arch enemies, Black Lightning's arch enemies. That's my wife sitting down. Black Lightning's, I got an audience here. Black Lightning's arch enemy. Basically, we're gonna find out. He was introduced. We're gonna find out more about him. He looks like a beefed up Ron Perlman. If you know who I'm talking about there, you should. He looks like a beefed up young Ron Perlman. I wouldn't want to mess with. But we're going to find out more when you dig into the episodes on how he took out Black Lightning, but didn't because Black Lightning's been hiding out and retired. I loved at the fact that, spoiler alert, at the end of the episode, we get to see what happens with his daughter, one of his daughters. Apparently, from what I heard, was to basically think of the Incredibles, but in a serious way, not a goofy way. Loved the episode, loved the actor, Chris Wilson. I remember him. I'm probably screwing that up. Chris Wilson. I'm reading this off the top of my head. He was fantastic in Prison Break Season 4 when he was hired by the company and he was the one that took out Mahone's son. Good actor. He's been in a lot of things like Law and Order and a bunch of other shows, and I'm so glad that he is taking up a role of a superhero. Will we eventually see a crossover in Arrowverse? I don't know. It's too early, but honestly, for me, already with the excitement and how this show nailed it with the ratings and everything that was high for this anticipation and the promotion of this show, yeah, let's get Black Lightning to fight along Arrow and the Arrowverse. Then we had Arrow. I have basically, for the last year, almost, last year, since the beginning of Arrow coming back, I've just been
bitching, ding, 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 and moaning,
yes,
and bitching, and bitching, and bitching, and bitching, and bitching, and bitching, and bitching. Are you bitching?
Yeah, I have, because I'm just going to say this, I do not like Caden James. This is the best villain we have to basically screw Oliver Queen's world up this season? Really? I find Black Siren more of a threat than this guy does. You got Bill Gates over here, okay? Who's going to be his like partner or sidekick, or is Team Arrow going to dig up Steve Jobs to take on this guy? Come on now. Come on. I don't like Kaden James. This character is just for this episode of Arrow, we saw Bill Gates. All right. Kaden James to me now is Bill Gates. Okay. We saw Bill Gates and his Microsoft Goonies go after some incredible information. I'm probably reading this wrong because I'm so pissed off when I hear the name Kaden James. It's like nails on the chalkboard to me. It's like Kaden James. All right. Yeah, Bill Gates and his Microsoft Goonies have basically gathered a bunch of goons and is continuing on with the plan on controlling the docks. I guess they want to get in some shipments of Windows 11 coming soon or something. But the boss of the dock shift, I'm just so upset. I'm trying to think of this, Dan. All right. Of course, we have the local mobster of the gang or mob, whatever the hell you want to say. I forgot his name. My wife's just looking at me like, what the hell? Well, he goes to Arrow for help because he don't want to be shut out. And he was the same crime boss that was related to the cousin of the Huntress. If you remember her name was dropped. Basically, we found out information about her. She's underground. We may possibly see her return in some future episodes. But therefore, Arrow basically teams up with the local mobster and tries to stop Bill Gates and his Microsoft Goonies. I just was like, really? I mean, the episode kind of dragged on, and then you got how the team is already split up and divided. You got the new Black Canary, you got Mr. Incredible, and you got Wild Dog. They're divided. They're doing their thing. Okay? They don't want to come back with Team Arrow, the original 3. Team Arrow. You got Diggler, Felicity, and Oliver. They're all divided, and it's just painful to watch at times because I'm hoping this team would get back together. It's like Bill Gates basically, just ruined you guys with a Mac, and now you don't want to get back together and stop this enemy after you find out the truth and everything. But trust was broken. Hopefully it will mend in time. Next week's episode, from the previews and everything, it looks like that Bill Gates is going after Arrow's son. See, I'm so upset I can't even think straight when I think of Kaden James. Oh, God, that name right there. If anyone ever uses the name Kaden, I feel bad for you. If you're named Kaden, I feel bad for you because this person has basically just messed up everything. This character, I don't like the character. The actor, yeah, he's good. Actor's good portraying this character, but the character I just don't like. I'd rather see Black Siren just go on a killing spree and them trying to stop. I don't know. I just don't know. Next week, we'll talk about the CW shows on what's to come. I just want to jump off this now. Oh yeah, let me just mention the Flash. We saw on the Flash almost got revealed. It was the trial of Barry Allen. Barry decided to go ahead and not run from what was happening. This trial had some ups and downs. I figured some good stuff would happen, but nothing happened for the fact that Barry went on trial. he got charged. He's in prison now. Now Barry is in the same cell as his father, who is the same one where his father was. And Iris almost revealed his identity to get him out, to prove that he's innocent. And he stopped her and told her no. So, for what I understand, it looks like they're taking this from the comic books. Barry Allen does go to jail, and he does eventually meet a potential hero in prison, which will be coming up. But I was excited when give you a spoiler on who that potential character was. Can you imagine WWE 2018 Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg sharing a cell with the Flash? It looks like he's going to be coming up on a two episode story arc. Other than that, Team Flash had to stop a radioactive man from exploding, but Barry Allen, as quick as he was, went out there, saved the man, and came back and got tried, found guilty, and he's in prison. The Thinker, all I gotta say, Thinker is an excellent character. He's always a step ahead. I love this. I love that they don't have another speedster for this season, because so far this is my favorite show because of the story and everything and how it's gotten into. Fantastic writing. Arrow just needs to pick up some things and basically get rid of Bill Gates and the stale story it's been going. I'll be glad when season 7 rolls around of Arrow and we can, if they don't put a bullet in Caden James' head by the end of this season, I will be totally upset, because if he resurfaces next season and they make him the villain again, God help us. Let's move on. Jessica Jones Season 2 debut. Looks like there's a trailer out for Season 2 of Jessica Jones. Season 2 will be arriving on Netflix on March 8th with 13 1-hour episodes. Basically, for Season 2, this is from superherohype.com. A New York City private investigator, Jessica Jones, is beginning to put her life back together after the murdering and torment Kilgrave. Now known throughout the city as a super-powered killer, a new case makes her reluctantly confront who she really is while digging deeper into her past to explore the reasons why. Christian Ritter returns as the foul-mouthed superhero heroine, Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones returns back on Netflix March 8th, 2013. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens. Loved her in the Defenders. She was excellent, man. She was excellent. And, of course, we know Captain Marvel's coming, but when? Now, let me click on that pop-up. Coming soon. No, not coming soon. Superherohype.com has a little article up that Brie Larson has been researching Captain Marvel. I have to give her kudos for that, man. She's actually taking this role serious. You hear about all these actors, they take roles and they just do it just for a payday. Well, I got to give kudos to a lot of the superhero actors that take up superhero roles, because they do some anticipation into researching the role. Looks like Brie Larson was doing some research. Superherohype.com has announced that Oscar winner Brie Larson continues to take her lead role as Carol Danvers in Marvel Studios' Captain Marvel pretty seriously, having appeared in an Instagram photo at Neal's Air Force Base in Nevada researching F-15 fighter aircraft. They got a post up with her giving a thumbs up. Captain Marvel, it looks like Samuel L. Jackson will be making an appearance in it, but as a younger Nick Fury. It's going to be taking place in the 90s. And if you're familiar with the Captain Marvel and who she was and who she is in the Marvel comic universe, then It's going to be pretty amazing. Captain Marvel looks like it's slated for March 8th, 2019 release to hit theaters. And my favorite timeline, taking place in the 90s. And finally, we got the Ant-Man and the Wasp plot description for that upcoming movie. Again, superherohype.com is reporting that there's new photos. This shows Paul Rudd back in the Ant-Man suit along with the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp details have been... I'm sitting there reading this right here, trying to get my spot. Okay, I found my spot here. Looks like details for this movie is come out, reporting by superherohype.com. From the Marvel Cinematic Universe comes Ant-Man and the Wasp, a new chapter featuring heroes with astonishing abilities to shrink. In the aftermath of Captain America's Civil War, Scott Lang grapples with the consequences of his choices as both a superhero and a father. As he struggles to rebalance his life with the responsibilities as Ant-Man, he's confronted by Hope Van Dyne and Dr. Hank Pine with an urgent new mission. Scott must once again put on the suit and learn to fight alongside with the Wasp as a team works together to uncover secrets from the past. But from what superherohype.com is saying, that despite being released 2 months after Avengers Infinity War, the film appears to take place before the events of that film and after Captain America sprung him from the floating prison in Civil War. Also, we could see the Pine Tech Company logo on this picture in the background, so that means that either Scott or Hope need to break into the company once again. They're visiting a multiverse version of it. There's possibilities, man. There's possibilities. Ant-Man and the Wasp is slated for release on July 6th of this year. I got some good pictures right here. Yeah, I saved that on my computer there. It is a screensaver. That's awesome, ain't it? Yeah, my wife agrees. And that's it for the Mirakuru Lounge segment. Going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I'm going to be joined by McShaft and Chris Carnage for the In-Ring Report. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be right back. Are you a fan of ELS and Chris Carnage? Well, you can show your support with the latest ELS and Chris Carnage swag. Head over to TheEverettLeeShow.weebly.com and click on the merch tab to get your ELS and Chris Carnage t-shirts. Look for special promo codes when available, such as percentage off and free shipping when you buy an ELS or Chris Carnage swag. Head over to everleeshow.weebly.com and click on the merch tab to get your ELS and Chris Carnage t-shirts.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
All right, the In-Ring Report, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Everett Lee Show. And joining me this week on the In-Ring Report is none other than returning to the Everett Lee Show. Who? Chris Carnage.
Hey fans, that's right, I'm glad to be back. Been doing a lot of crazy stuff lately, but all things that will be awesome in the future. Only you will see when you see it. Because that's how Chris Carnage does it.
And also joining me on In-Ring Report this week, McShaft.
How y'all doing? Just let you know, you better be quiet as when you come in my house.
I gotta censor that now.
We gotta bleep that for the FCC.
People love a good bleep every now and then.
This week, the In-Ring Report is brought to you by Podcast City Network. You can check out this show and other great shows such as ELS Uncut, Films a Classic, The Chris Carnage Show.
That's right.
Soon. McShaft's new show coming soon, Forking Around.
Ooh,
and The Imaginarium and the Super Radio Brothers podcast, all on Podcast City Network website. You can check it out at podcastcity.net.
If you or somebody you know has a podcast that would like to possibly get featured on Podcast City Network in the future,
leave us a comment, a message, get a hold of us.
Definitely get a hold of us. There's all kinds of ways you can do it right through the website at podcastcity.net. You can put in your name, your email, put in whatever comment, and we'll make sure to get back to you as soon as we can.
That's right. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of the network and the shows. We love to hear your feedback. Well, gentlemen, a lot's been happening this week on with wrestling, especially with Raw celebrating its 25th anniversary.
25 years.
In 25 years, you figured when it gets this close to being 25 years, you figured the creative, the booking would actually finally get it right.
Nope.
You would think.
You would think they would. The only great thing about this Raw 25 was the opening segment with Vince McMahon and his children and the GoFundMe plaque.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I think you kind of compare it to like getting old or riding a bicycle, because as you get older in life, you really can't ride a bicycle that good. Okay, so it's kind of like after 25 years, you would think it'd be better, but it really wasn't as good as what you would think it would be.
It's like, hey, we could possibly have something good we're going to put out, and then just say, Jake, hey, this is really what we're going to give you, and just give him a steaming pile of crap.
Yeah, it just
Now on a positive side,
fell short, man.
On a positive side, it did help. The ratings were up, the viewership was up.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah,
I think in the long run, it did more damage, because now people are going to see all this hype that they're going to bring up for these upcoming pay-per-views and events. And they're going to be like, well, remember the Raw 25th, how disappointing that was? I think it's going to be the same thing.
And you know why? It's because they made it into a hype machine. They try to hype it, they try to make it more than it is, and they always fall short on the execution. That is the WWE's problem. And because of the fact, in my opinion, they run way too many shows between their non-TV schedule and their TV schedule, that you're watering down your product.
Yeah, they basically have watered down their product, because with this was really hyped up. They had a big attendance record. They had a big viewing on TV. Just viewing this right here, it was so hyped up. The hype machine was rolling, getting ready to. I mean, it just everyone was excited about this. It was going to roll out. It was going to be something like Raw 1000. I remember more watching Raw 1000 than I did anything out of this.
Raw 1000 was good.
About the only thing now people's going to ask is, what do you remember from Raw 25?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Exactly. That opening segment was gold, man. How'd you guys feel about seeing Stone Cold, that glass shattering, and the Barclays Center just exploding, just seeing him?
I think that was a good like flashback of like how Raw used to be back in the day, Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Stone Cold comes out, Vince McMahon, they talk, a beer, a stunner.
And what was great, too, is you see Vince just go right into his heel roll again, which we haven't really seen anytime recently. So to see that and then see that nostalgia of a Stone Cold reaction, just great.
Yeah, it was gold, man. It was gold. He basically fed, first off, Vince was cutting excuses why that he not have the crowd encourage Stone Cold to do anything.
Behind the cheap plaque.
Yes, behind the cheap plaque.
And now he's getting stunned.
Yes. He fed him Shane first.
He definitely did.
Yeah.
Because he's a senior citizen. Everett, he's a senior citizen.
Well, he was like, what, 70, I think, right now? Something like that?
Yeah, but he was on the cover of Muscle Fitness.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a pretty, well, healthy, like...
Oh, he definitely takes care of himself. But when you make, as much money as he does,
yeah,
you have the people that are able to take care of those things. Be like, oh, you need to be eating this. Make sure you lift these weights.
Disney, when he dies, they're going to cryogenically freeze his body or his head somewhere behind, like, the studios in Stanford. And then, like, every, 5 years, they'll bring him out and, what's going on.
No, they're just going to dig a basement. It's going to be 3 miles deep, and it's just going to be a crypt with Vince McMahon in it. Like you said, cryogenically frozen, and the only person with any access to it will be Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. And they'll just go down and marvel at him until the day they bring him back.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
That
and then they'll turn it into a promo for Vince McMahon's return.
It's the Raw 156th anniversary. Vince McMahon returns from the cryogenic state
to comment on the state of WWE.
You're talking about Vince McMahon being jacked up and stuff. Damn, I want one to face him on the shuffleboard deck.
Damn.
Talking about being a senior citizen. Well,
Triple H's kid at that time is fighting one of the heavyweight champions in a like title versus nose match where like their nose gets taken off or shortened if they lose.
We will genetically alter your nose.
After the Stone Cold segment, we've seen the 8 women tag, which basically had so many commercials in and out of this.
Insert fart sound here.
I think I've seen probably about all I remember is probably about like 2 minutes of this match. I remember the ending, which was good because after Sasha Banks put the bank statement on, I forgot who the hell she put the bank statement on. I believe it was what?
One of the women. I mean, they all look the same to me.
I mean,
yeah, it was after she put the bank statement on, they all celebrated. Sasha Banks.
it was on Alicia Fox.
Bailey and Asuka celebrated, and Asuka threw everybody out of the damn ring, on what's to come with the Women's Royal Rumble coming up this Sunday, which is pretty neat.
So here's my take on this, okay? So, as we all know, Paige is no longer able to wrestle.
Yes.
Okay? So, now your trio that you got here is now basically 2 women.
Yes,
It's
a tag team.
With no direction.
Right.
Yeah, no
So,
direction.
here's what they need to do, okay? First of all, they need to take Sasha Banks, turn her heel, and make her the leader of the group. So you got the boss, and then you got like her like
Just like her lackeys.
or employees or whatever you want to call them, and then you've got like the
people who handle her business.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That'd be perfect. Or take Nia Jax, somebody who could definitely be a huge dominant role in the women's division,
And is already a heel.
yes,
Yeah.
and make her the leader. Have her turn, make her the leader of the group, or something like that. Instead of having her go all like girly and trying to go after Enzo, which now that Enzo's gone. What are you gonna do? The whole Nia Jax thing. It's like
Which we'll address later.
right.
Yes.
But the whole Nia Jax thing, is like okay, no, it's like you built her up with this relationship thing. Now you're just gonna drop it. So where do you go with it now?
Right.
Make her a heel. Make her the leader of the group.
Yeah.
Through something where it's like Nia Jax took out Paige and now she's the leader of the group or something like that. Do something.
Yeah, give her that kind of edge where she seems really heel. She just took out Paige, ended her career.
Right.
There's all kinds of ways WWE could push that kind of an angle.
I think
Yeah,
either
there's
Nia
a
Jax
lot.
or Sasha Banks can be their choice. Make them the leader of this group, take Paige's spot, and really kind of go with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they can definitely do that. Like, get Sasha Banks to join them. Maybe they call themselves the Boss Squad or something. I'm just throwing some names out there. You know what I mean?
Right, I mean,
just something.
The company.
Or the execs.
Yeah.
Any kind of cool thing you can put on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right after that, they finally cut back to the Manhattan Center with a crowd who was basically just sitting there, non-responsive. You had Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler introduce The Undertaker. Undertaker comes out there and cuts some kind of
weirdness.
promo. He cut a promo about him out there 25 years. He's whipped everyone's butt, and it started here, and it ended here.
On the sacred ground.
Sacred ground. A lot of people are saying he retired, and a lot of people saying that he was just reminding people who he was.
I think he retired because he said at the end of the promo, it's finally time that they rest in peace. So I think that was his way of saying, I've beaten all these high-profile people, these legends of the business.
Beating them all.
And now it's time to rest in peace. That's it. That's done.
That's your take on it. What about you, Chris?
Honestly, I have to agree because, with him coming out where in the sacred ground, quote unquote, of where everything started and saying that all of his enemies have been laid in the earth behind him, and that it is truly time they rest in peace. I think this is Taker's sign that he is walking away. It's done.
Because if you think about it, he kind of like, in storyline, had the souls of his victims.
Yes.
And now that he's letting them finally rest in peace, he's done. That's it.
done.
Yeah, he has no more purpose.
He has no more purpose. I look at it that way.
I mean, when
it
you
was
get
like he retired.
When
He
you get
started
beat by
there.
someone like Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I mean, you pretty much know where to go but retire.
Your career is pretty much over at that point anyways. I don't care if you're Undertaker or Kofi Kingston. It doesn't matter.
That's right.
Right. I felt that way too.
Get beat by a roided out Samoan at WrestleMania. And it's
I felt it. I felt in a way that it was like his retirement. But to myself, I'm saying maybe he's sending a message that he is going to maybe he may show up at the Royal Rumble, he may show up at Mania and have one last match, and that's it. Or is this it? I don't know. I'm a little bit confused, but a lot of people is taking it as, yeah, he retired. But for me, I think he was just sending some kind of message that he's going to go and get some more souls before he descends permanently to hell.
I guess we'll see at Mania.
Yeah, we'll see. We will definitely see. Then we have The Miz.
The only bright spot of the rest of the show, in my opinion.
Besides the opening. He basically went after Roman Reigns in his rematch for the Intercontinental Championship. Surprised ending, which was great because I didn't see it coming with the exposed turnbuckle. I thought that was great.
I didn't even see it.
You didn't even see it. It was
like I just never saw The Miz take the actual pad off. Like that surprised me. I was like,
yeah.
Wait a minute, there was a pad there. Yeah. I felt like I was just so confused. So I really loved how they did that.
Yeah, I was like, where the hell's the pad? What the hell happened? And on the replay, when Roman Reigns was dealing with Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas with the ref, Miz went over there and he took off the turnbuckle. Perfect heel tactic, man. Perfect heel tactic. He used it to his advantage. Boom, off the turnbuckle, off that exposed turnbuckle, Roman Reigns. Head went. 1, 2, 3. Miz recaptured for the 8th time the Intercontinental Championship.
Only behind Chris Jericho, who has 9.
Exactly. Now, here's a question here I want to ask both of you. Since Miz captured this Intercontinental Championship for his 8th time, do we see him eventually breaking Jericho's 9 holds of the Intercontinental Championship? What do you think? McShaft?
Considering the fact that The Miz has got several years ahead of him left in the WWE, and he's not going to be retiring anytime soon, they definitely will have him break the 9 time, definitely. I honestly didn't give 2 rats' ass about this match because you have Roman Reigns, who's pretty much a filler champion until The Miz got back. Didn't really do much to really boost the title.
Right.
And then, honestly, I mean, I don't really think The Miz is that great of a not Intercontinental champion, like promo-wise he is, but like wrestling-wise, I still am just not a fan of him.
Well, he's the king of soft style.
I think that, honestly, I mean, it's good to get the title off Roman Reigns because he honestly was just a filler champion anyway. Mm-hmm. I mean, they need to give The Miz a break here from this whole Intercontinental Championship thing. Let some, more higher profile people have it. Let The Miz go off and do something else to kind of build his character a little more. Maybe do a tag team thing, maybe, something. But get the title off him. Let, someone else hype up some good matches stuff. Like, for instance, if you got a Raw, you got, give Finn Balor the Intercontinental title. Have Finn Balor feud with, somebody of a high profile, like maybe Seth Rollins or something like that, or... You know what I'm saying? Like, give some people like people want to see, the fans want to see. The Intercontinental Championship too. It's supposed to be a way to like kind of boost these like mid-carders up to like a main event role. And considering The Miz has pretty much already been in a main event role several times already in his career, and I mean honestly, I'm gonna say his wrestling ability just really isn't like as high profile as I think his promo work is. I think it's time for The Miz to kind of step away from the Intercontinental scene a little bit, focus on something else. I just don't really care for it.
Chris?
Well, there's some things with that I agree with, some things I don't agree with. I agree Roman Reigns was a transitional champion who I hate and don't like seeing in the ring and can go away and I don't think anybody would cry.
Right.
But The Miz, on the other hand, I feel is a really good talent. I do agree that his promo abilities do exceed his wrestling abilities, but seeing what he came from when he initially came into WWE to where he is now, he is leaps and bounds better than he was when he came in. He literally...
Yeah.
He literally reinvented himself, I felt, numerous times during his career when it came to his wrestling ability to try and improve himself, to show that he belonged and he wasn't just, hi, I'm from the real world and I did real world and road rules challenges.
We have what I call a gender case here. So you have a guy like Jinder Mahal who came back, reinvented his gimmick. His promo work is really good. His gimmick is good, but his wrestling ability just isn't there. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at previous, for instance, Intercontinental title matches, you've had in the history of WWE, The Rock and Ken Shamrock, Stone Cold and, The Rock, Owen Hart and Stone Cold,
Triple H and The Rock.
Yes. All these good, a lot of good talents, good matches. But then you have, The Miz versus... Roman Reigns.
Well, that's another thing where I agree with you is that obviously Roman Reigns just needs to whatever, but with The Miz, I feel at this point, eventually, yes, he will break the record. Yeah. However, I also agree that at this point, he needs to step back from the Intercontinental scene, let someone Finn Balor, the Seth Rollins of the world, who I have a gripe when it comes to the next part too, when it comes to how they're using him, is they need to be in a position to be in the jumping point to the main event scene at any time. Those are guys you can rely on. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, The Miz, I can feel he could even be in there as someone who could be possibly on the edge of the main event scene, but I feel he needs to go and possibly be a different facet for WWE right now, given the talent.
Else. I mean, for instance, okay, who's a good person coming right now as far as
well, the one thing I feel like he could easily start a feud with just about anybody just because of the level of his promo work.
Yes.
Yeah, he definitely can. He could definitely start a feud with anybody with his promo ability.
To feud with an up and coming face. Kind of help boost them up too.
Right.
For instance, if Jason Jordan didn't suck ass like he does, and everyone hated him for the horrible story,
which I have a lot to say about that.
So I'm just saying, let's just say they never brought in Jason Jordan as Kurt Angle's son and everything else.
Horrible angle.
So let's just say they brought him in legit and want to make him, and like everyone liked him.
Yeah.
Well, The Miz would be the perfect person to feud with and help boost him up and stuff and everything. Like for instance, if they took someone like Johnny Gargano, from NXT and called him up the Raw. Mm-hmm. The Miz would be a perfect person for him to feud with and help boost him up and everything. Right. Doesn't even have to be for the
Intercontinental. Just do like the typical heel vet versus face newcomer.
I mean, he doesn't even have to have the Intercontinental title to really help boost it. And I think that's what he should be right now, is helping boost all the talent and stuff up here. Let someone else handle the whole Intercontinental title scene and use his promo ability and stuff and his longevity that he's been there is helping, boost people up.
Yeah. And it'd be crazy too, of course, you want to be able to push young talent. And this is an issue I also have, is I feel they always bury new talent. Is you could take The Miz and put him into a position where, say, for instance, if we did a hypothetical, he goes against Gargano. Yeah. Gargano's the face, Miz is the heel. Yeah. You put Gargano over and then put Miz on something that they say usually does not work in the industry, but in this type of case can, because he is an 8-time Intercontinental Champion. He is a former WWE Champion. Is put him on a small losing streak.
Well, Jericho's a perfect example. Look at Jericho. When AJ Styles first came in, who did AJ Styles feud with first time? Jericho. And Jericho helped put him up.
Exactly.
I mean, you didn't really have to because it's AJ Styles, but still, the same.
But Jericho knows talent when he sees it.
And in the WWE Universe era, where they don't recognize any other promotion, he got this new guy, quote unquote new guy, AJ Styles. It's like, oh, what has he done? It's like, now you have Jericho who brings him in. It wasn't a title.
Yeah.
It's just a good feud because it's two characters that come together and create magic.
The Undertaker and Kane storyline when Kane debuted. They didn't have a title. They never had a title to fight over, and that was like one of the best storylines that they had.
That was a title and a feud. I feel is a plus because someone's going to walk away with that. Mm-hmm. And you were mentioning about Jason Jordan. It looks like Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins. It looks like their relationship after what happened with the bar on the Peep Show. It looks like it's going to be. It's going in the wrong direction, or not a wrong direction. Actually, a right direction. I don't know what kind of direction you would say.
The right
these
direction,
these guys are gonna split.
The right direction is split them up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what's gonna happen.
The wrong direction is
to continue this mockery.
Exactly, and make this a WrestleMania match. That's the wrong direction.
Yeah, that definitely would be wrong. But it looks like they're heading that direction where they're going to be busting these guys up. They're going to lose the tag titles. Then,
which I think it needs to be on the bar anyways, just because, in my opinion, they have grown as a great tag team.
Yes.
But even though they come from two completely separate backgrounds, how they've been able to grow this tag team from us having a 7-match a series against one another to now we are entrenched tag team contenders, former champions, and it's just been glorious. That, and I love that Sheamus has a Notre Dame logo just right there on his vest.
What they need to set up is the Shield versus the Balor Club at WrestleMania is what they should be doing.
They should, and I think that's what's going to happen because with Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan, the original plan was Seth Rollins and Finn Balor.
Yeah.
People don't realize, but they dropped Jason Jordan. Yeah. Jason Jordan coming out and then putting on the TV side of things, kayfabe, that Kurt Angle is Jason Jordan's father. Kurt Angle is Jason Jordan's father. That you literally just took Jason Jordan's career, you walked it out back, you loaded the shotgun, and you blew its brains out.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. He has no career.
Old Yeller.
You old Yellered his entire career.
Him Old Yeller instead of Jason Jordan.
So Seth Rollins and Old Yeller are now tag champs, but they are going to drop them. I feel the bar's going to take them, and then hopefully they set up, like you said, with Carl Anderson and whatnot, in the Balor Club at Mania.
Yeah, the Balor Club, I could see by the time WrestleMania or by the time after or at WrestleMania, I could see I could see the club having the tag titles back on them, which I was happy.
Yep.
When
Right.
they won them the first time, I was happy when they won them the first time and they had them. I'm looking forward to seeing them get some tag gold back around their waist, and eventually, like you said, I like to see Finn Balor get some type of gold around him too, and have the Balor Club be champions.
Speaking of, now the Miz has the Intercontinental title, you could have the Balor Club fighting the Miz Taraj little feud, and Balor wins the IC title.
You can.
That would even be perfect.
That would be
That'd be
great.
cool.
And that'd be a better feud for The Miz, because just putting somebody who is high profile over, but doing it in an epic way, because The Miz is, in my opinion, a decent wrestler at this point. He is very manageable, can come up with some interesting spots. It's just, he's not the guy that's going to be able to do all the kind of crazy stuff you see other guys do.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, let's move the title on.
Yeah, he will. He'll be able to put Finn Balor over in a big way and put that belt on him.
Oh yeah.
And just move on. Now from this point they go back to the Manhattan Center. Now a lot of people
have one of my favorite two wrestlers right now.
Now one thing about your two favorite wrestlers here, one of them Bray Wyatt in a match against Woken Matt Hardy at the Manhattan Center.
I still think I still think that they're so underutilizing Bray Wyatt.
Oh, absolutely.
His potential has not even been close to been met, and I think at this point, because what are they really doing with him? They're basically just kind of just on him right now.
Kind of just using him as filler for everything.
Yeah. Right. Now one thing about this here, when Bray and Matt had their match here, when Bray came out, they shut the lights off on him and did the Firefly thing. Now, when Undertaker came out, they didn't even shut the damn lights off and turn them back on. So people were complaining about that on social media.
Well, because remember, originally when Undertaker debuted, he didn't have the lights off.
Yeah, that wasn't there, yeah.
That's what I was thinking, because I was like, when he came out...
It's an authenticity thing.
I was like, all right, cool. I was like, they're doing old school. And I thought that was funny, because people were complaining about that. They said, they shut the lights off. It's like, well, you know what? You probably weren't around in 1993, 94, when Raw was on television back then.
My favorite Undertaker era so far was when he had the Ministry of Darkness, and he had that big-ass goatee on.
Oh, yeah.
He kept sacrificing people on the symbol. That was like,
you know who he reminded?
The scariest, best Undertaker character.
He reminded me of like a jacked up Glenn Danzig.
Almost, yeah.
He did, don't he? You know. But we go after this match here. We go back to the Barclays Center, and we have a little segment backstage with Elias.
Well, before we get to that, let's just point out this though. Even though Woken, quote unquote, Woken Matt Hardy lost.
Yeah.
He teased this morning that the 7 deities have said he needs to re-examine his broken roots.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You know,
he went back to the compound.
Well, yes, because as you know, and you've seen a few weeks, if you haven't seen or not, there was a picture online of Matt Hardy shaking hands with Ed Nordstrom, the owner of Impact Wrestling. And apparently they announced that they have said that any talent that is currently or has previously been on Impact Wrestling can basically own the rights to all the characters and gimmicks they have created for their characters.
Oh my
Which basically means
God.
that they pretty much lost the whole broken lawsuit feud thing, and they're preventing themselves from getting another hole like that in the future, which is why they're doing that.
Right.
So because of that, the Hardy Boys own the broken gimmick, which means WWE can use it. Which
Oh
we now
my
might see,
God.
Which we now might see Woken Matt Hardy actually go back and become a broken Matt Hardy.
Yeah. That'd be freaking awesome. That would be awesome if we could see the broken Matt Hardy. Because a lot of people are not too casual fans, are not too familiar with TNA with that broken Matt Hardy.
If you remember there, Everett Lee, I was showing you footage of broken Matt Hardy from Impact, and there's a lot of stuff that you hadn't even seen it because
I'll admit,
exactly,
yes, I'll admit
exactly, and I want to tell everyone that hasn't seen any of the broken stuff previously from Impact. That watch it because it is pure gold. The stuff that they did,
literally,
where they had to fight quote unquote Smoking Joe Frazier, which was a kangaroo, or where Matt Hardy was told to go back to his Egyptian roots and use Vanguard 1 the teleport and came out with an Egyptian outfit for like 3 weeks, or when he talked to his faithful companion George Washington the giraffe.
Oh, it's so good.
This stuff is gold.
And then if he goes back to the broken gimmick, where have we seen Jeff Hardy lately? Maybe
he came out on Raw. Remember?
Yes.
25. He was back.
You see him come back.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You see him go away for a little bit as he re-explores the broken roots, and then Brother Nero returns.
I hope so. That'd be sick.
Now
I just downloaded them on WWE 2K18 last week, and I got the legit broken Matt Hardy and the obsolete Brother Nero. He has the obsolete face paint on him and stuff.
Hell yeah.
It's great.
Now, one thing I do got to say, I did enjoy, because I enjoyed these two characters, because when I saw these characters on the screen, these legends, it reminded me of a time sentimental to me when I'd sit there and used to watch wrestling with my father. You know my father there, McShaft.
Yep.
And these two were his favorite. He liked watching them when they were together because they caused a lot of hell. They basically drank a lot of beer, played a lot of cards, smoked a lot of cigars, and they had only one door to their office.
Like the poker game they had going all during Raw 25.
Yes. I'm talking about the APA. Now, I did like the beginning of that little segment there with the APA playing cards, and then all of a sudden you saw, the appearance of Ted DiBiase throwing down a swat of money. We're getting into a gambling thing with the $1 million belt. I love that.
Did you ever see the segment where they went to the jewelry store where they had the people that originally made the $1 million belt and everything, and they had a the second cop, because they made like I think 2 belts in case one got lost or broken, and they had one of the 2 original belts there at the store.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
up on the counter in a case and stuff and everything.
I didn't know that. I thought you were
Yeah.
about to talk about an APA story about when they were in the bar and they got into a fight.
That was like every week
my
back
father.
I'm about to say, there's so many about those.
My father liked it when Bradshaw, the segment back then when APA sitting there, Bradshaw was like, "Hey Ron, we got to go up to this strip club." He's like, Ron, he's like, "We do." He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "They're up there dancing with no tops on." Damn, we got to go. I loved it.
Or if you watch WWE Story Time, the story they had where they were so drunk and they had Theodore Long as their manager. And one of them made Theodore Long stop so he could take a piss, and ended up leaving him on the side of the road for like 2 hours.
That was great. That was freaking great.
My favorite
That was freaking
APA
great.
genre was when they first got together and they were part of the Ministry of Darkness. They used to come out with the symbols on their chest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The acolytes.
Yeah, the
And that was
acolytes.
my favorite. I love the whole protection agency, people paying them to protect them and stuff and everything.
That was
We
good.
started just coming in the shirts and jeans.
That was
Yeah.
good. Remember when they had hardcore? Was it Crash Holly when he was defending the hardcore
Oh, yeah.
championship
Yeah.
24/7?
Yeah.
Remember he had to have them. He had to have them for protection and stuff.
Yeah,
and
I
I think
remember
they
that.
ended up going ahead and beating him and taking the hardcore title. It was. I loved seeing the APA. I did. I loved seeing people backstage like Ted DiBiase, MVP. I was surprised.
Yeah, I was very surprised to see
I
MVP.
was. He was back there, and that was good. I enjoyed parts of that and everything and stuff. I loved how they gambled and everything and stuff. And Ted
Let's-
DiBiase cleaned them out.
Oh, yeah, well, of
Heath Slater
course.
Lost
See,
his,
it's sad when you get excited to see someone like MVP, who they called a legend. Okay.
Well-
However, when Edge and Christian announced their podcast, they're going to have Corey Graves, and everyone's just like, "Oh,
Oh,
what?
Corey
I'm just gonna say
Graves.
this. Go back. I've been trying to tell you this, and you won't let me get it out. I've been trying to tell you this. Go back, watch NXT in 2013 when Corey Graves was still active
I
wrestler.
was there in 2013.
Well, you need
I saw all that.
the Shield.
I saw all that.
The feud with the Shield. When the
I've seen
Shield came
all
back to NXT
Yeah.
and we're trying to take it over,
I've seen
and
all-
Corey
yeah.
Graves,
McShaft has seen all of it.
I've seen all
What?
of it.
He's seen all of it.
he's seen
I've
all
seen
of
all
it.
He's seen all of it.
I've seen all that.
He's seen all of that.
I loved it. It was great.
It was good. It was
It was
great
good.
thing,
It was
but-
good.
But
It was good.
It was good.
look at the last maybe 2 years. Corey Graves. That's as exciting as we can get on an Edge and Christian podcast.
Well, there's
Considering
been
the
a lot
amount
of
of
guests.
considering the amount of
We're going to talk about this later. We're
considering
moving on.
the megastars.
We're
that are
moving
there.
on.
Yeah, we're getting off topic.
Back at the Manhattan Center, we had DX come out.
Like, Corey
And
Graves just doesn't get me excited.
Scott Hall comes out as Razor.
Looking old.
His Razor Ramon when he wears the Scott Hall vest.
Yeah, hey, yo. He comes out, and they said it was too sweet. The Balor Club comes out. They have a little confrontation, and then it basically too sweet each other. Then, like a lot of people predicted,
Cease and
and I
desist.
predicted, the Revival come out, and they have their match with Gallows and Anderson.
FTR.
Poor JR didn't even know the finisher for Gallows and Anderson. He called it. He said, "Oops, looks like they're putting him in a headlock."
The Magic Killer.
The Magic Killer. He didn't know that. And then after that, the Revival gets their butt kicked by everyone's finishing move, by Triple H, Shawn Michaels, X-Pac, everybody does their finisher, and they basically wipe the mat with the Revival.
I call this segment the Revival.
Yes.
The Revival. If I was one of either of the Revival, I'd be so happy because I'd be taking all their moves. I'd be like, this is a dream come true. I saw this when I was 3.
Should we say instead FTRR?
FTR.
You get it?
Yes. I get it. I get it.
I get it. Do you get it?
The last part of Raw, we had the confrontation with Kane brawls with Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman takes out Kane. Then Brock Lesnar comes out. They feud, and then they end Raw with Strowman putting Lesnar through the announce table, and that's it.
You know,
there you go. There's Raw 25.
I really wouldn't say that they brawled with Lesnar. I would say Lesnar threw them around, and then Strowman just happened to pick him up and put him through a table.
And said, screw this.
Well, do you see how much I remember?
Kane doesn't brawl. He's too old for that.
Kane doesn't brawl. He takes an F5 and rolls out of the ring.
He's a government official these days.
Yes. Well, no.
Right
that and Braun Strowman done flipped a darn semi.
Glenn Jacobs is a government official, not Kane.
Right, the
Not
censor
Kane.
It's
Not
right
Kane.
to
I don't know who you're talking about.
There's Stevie Richards.
Whatever, yeah. That's right to censor Kane.
Yeah, I don't care.
Where's the good father?
The good father.
Okay,
Oh, man.
there's Raw
He did show up,
25.
though. The Godfather did show. I like the Godfather showing up.
That was nice.
The Godfather, that was great.
I would rather have seen Papa Shango, but, you know.
Damn. Not much. Raw 25. I know a lot of people were pissed off at the Manhattan Center, who actually upset at the Manhattan Center because of stuff that they weren't giving and everything. That JR and Jerry Lawler fell asleep at the announce table. And
There's proof.
yeah, there is proof. JR's denying it. And then
He looks like the
websites are-
diabetes guy. He's asleep.
Sitting there just being like, I'm tired and I got diabetes.
Well, the only thing I'm going to remember out of this, the disaster of a train wreck,
Barbecue sauce.
is
Vampiro. Oh, my God. He's broken in half.
Cookbooks. Stunner.
the only thing I'm going to remember out of this
Oh, God.
is Steve Austin. Stunner. He broke.
Quiet when you get...
Oh, don't
Oh, my
start that.
JR.
Oh, my God.
My God, you be quiet when you get to home.
Home.
Wow.
Home.
Not much.
Oh, my God. Home at when you need him.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Not much happened on SmackDown.
Not much happened on SmackDown.
They just had a 2-hour show of nothing.
No, nothing much happened. Just, an
No.
RKO out of nowhere.
No, AJ Styles. AJ Styles defeated Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, like you said, in the same night. Now, Shinsuke wrestled McShaft's favorite wrestler, Baron Corbin.
You mean Mr. Hairline himself?
Captain hairline to you.
The receding hairline, Baron Corbin. Oh, he's got his new finisher out. Instead of the deep 6, it's called the deep hairline.
To the submission called the Rogaine.
The Rogaine. Oh my God. He's got the fabulous forehead drop kick. Watch
Watch out for his diving headbutt.
the diving headbutt. Oh my God.
Damn, you guys are killing me
Holy
over here.
crap.
And this is what happens when Moonshine's introduced to Chris
I'm about to fall out
Carnage.
of this chair.
What's his other finished movie? He has the deep 6. And what's the other one? End of Days. How about the end of his hairline? Oh my God. His forehead's going to be bigger than Sasha
No, you
Banks'
better
forehead
watch
here
it.
a little bit.
McShaft, you better watch it. He'll come after you on Twitter and mention.
What's he going to do? Threaten to shave my head?
You better. He'll come after you on Twitter, and he'll remind you how much money he makes and how big of a house he has.
But he can't afford to get some hair plugs.
But you know what's bad is I'm sitting here looking at a Royal Rumble ad with him on it, and it just look at that hairline. It's like you can literally land a 747 on that thing.
That's bad.
It's like a little streak in the middle that probably just be like the stopper in case you went too far.
Jesus.
Oh damn!
Holy crap.
If you think of it as like an aircraft carrier, that would be just the line the jet would hit to catch it from going off the other side of his head.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my God.
Now Shinsuke Nakamura wrestled Baron Corbin, and which was cool was an RKO out of nowhere.
Shinsuke Nakamura wrestled Baron Corbin, But Baron Corbin pretty much wrestled the fact that his hair is disappearing.
Oh my god!
Oh damn! But the RKO out of nowhere was pretty awesome because Randy Orton making his presence known.
It's funny because
no
Baron Corbin's losing his hair and Randy Orton's growing back his hair. It's like what?
Yeah, that's like a switch.
Chris pointed out it. Orton almost looks like a throwback to his 2004.
Right, he looks so thick.
What I think is with Orton's new part-time schedule now that he's basically spending more time being able to. He did hit the gym or something, Chris.
He had to have, honestly. Yeah. I don't know if he had a little bit of time off here and there over the past couple of years. Like, he's just been able to do it. Maybe he actually took some real tips on like Baron Corbin and started using some Rogaine. I don't know. It's been crazy, and I'm kind of interested to see where they're going to go with this. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of feud, either between Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura, or Randy Orton and Baron Corbin, or who knows, maybe even both. Yeah. But I'm really interested to see where they're going to go with this, and then where he goes after that, because he is a vet. He's been around a long time. He debuted, what was it, 2002? Mm-hmm. That's 16 years ago. Yeah. So how much more does he really have in the tank? Do you think he gets another title run? Do you think he's going to do anything really important? Or do you think he's really just clinging on at this point?
Right. Exactly. I like the heel version of Orton, but then I do like the face.
That, and he still uses the same theme too. So if he's going a face or a heel route, do they give him another theme? Do they try and reinvent him a little? Is he trying to reinvent himself? Right. With the weight gain and the hair. It's really all hard to tell right now.
It is. It's still early though, but within the coming months, we'll see what direction and where he ends up at. And then we had Naomi. She defeated Liv Morgan from the Riot Squad. Then we had Chad Gable defeated Jey Uso in a singles match.
Well, Chad Gable apparently is held in extreme high regards by the company. Right. So to see him go over one of the Usos, and now where are they really going to push him to? I feel they're going to end up having to put him in the U.S. title scene, test him out, and see where he goes. Because I feel like with him being high on their list, he is a great wrestler. He just needs to get a little bit better on the mic, which he's been showing some advancement.
He has.
But honestly, if they build him right, which I feel like they are, because it feels like they're taking their time with him. Right. That he could become a really good talent down the line.
Yeah, he definitely could. He could do some good single stuff, man. I mean, him and him and Jason Jordan, they do have basically almost a similar background with their college, wrestling.
Well, no, Jason Jordan's father is Kurt Angle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He has a pedigree of Olympic gold. He has the 3 eyes. Oh, I can't even say that without smiling.
I know.
Wow.
But
it hurts even to say it.
But then we had Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, and Bobby Roode. They defeated Jinder Mahal, Rusev, and Aiden English. How over is Rusev with Rusev Day? Someone put up on Twitter that said they need to do hashtag Rusev25.
I tell you what, Rusev's getting himself over.
Yeah, he's found something that works, man. He's more over now than his wife.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, his wife was over. Remember last year, his wife was over than him, and then now this year,
it's flopped.
Yeah, it's flopped. I mean, swap, flop, whatever.
Flippity flop, flippity flop, blah blue. Doesn't matter because it's Rusev Day.
Yeah, Rusev Day. Let's get a Rusev Day chant up in here, guys. Rusev Day. What's wrong, McShaft?
So
sorry, I was drinking.
I'm just thinking while you guys were talking. So I think there's so much potential in the whole Aiden English Rusev tag team.
Oh, definitely
there is.
I think that one thing that they need to kind of watch out and not do like they do everything else that they don't know what to do with. Add all those comedy bits and stuff into it and everything. Right. So I think what they really need to do here is really start pushing Rusev back to a dominant singles wrestler. Yeah. Have Aiden English kind of like his quote unquote mouthpiece kind of, so you can play it off as the whole European connection thing. Even though Aiden English is not really European per se, but his gimmick is
a starving artist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So you could play it off as kind of like the starving artist, where it's my monster Rusev is going to essentially kind of beat everyone and kind of take care of the starving artist kind of thing. And you could play it off as Aiden English, maybe doing some wrestling here and there, but really kind of have Aiden English kind of use the starving artist gimmick to kind of help push Rusev back into the whole monster gimmick and really start, propelling him into the main event level, which is where he should have been a long time ago.
Oh, absolutely. But I feel like now versus then is that he's a lot more open on the mic. He's not as timid. He's able to cut a much better promo. He's able to carry himself as a main eventer a lot better now than he was then.
I hope they give them the tag titles here soon. And like I said, they need to go in like a more serious route with them and not play it off as too comical. because then later on you're just killing the whole Rusev character later on down the road if you want to push him back up to
definitely.
being a monster. It's just like Mark Henry. It's like, yeah, you pushed him back up to be a monster, but no one forgot sexual chocolate Mark Henry.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Mae Young. It ruined his character for so long.
Yeah.
And when you look back on Mark Henry's career,
right,
that's always going to be the
It
stigma
ended up being
of his
this.
career.
Yeah, it was a stigma.
And the last thing you want is, for that being with Rusev too, later on, being at the stigma in his career is, a super comedy bit where you can't take him seriously.
But I feel like part of this is just a product of the PG era of wrestling that we have in WWE today. Because at the end of the day, they have gotten geared to where they want to make things fun. They want to make it funny. They want to draw more children in and try and buy merchandise. And it's all at the expense of where you really could take these characters.
But the other thing, too, is that when you have them facing a group like The New Day, who is nothing but comedy, and they have good wrestling, but, majority of it's comedy.
Oh, yes.
When you try to push English and Rusev is more of like a comedy thing too, because the level is just, they're not even.
It's so
the
different.
Level of the New Day, it's gonna hurt it more than it is.
Oh, definitely, because the New Day, they have so much charisma.
Exactly.
It's just leaps and bounds different.
That when you try to push Rusev and Aiden English kind of the same way, it's not going to work out, and it's going to hurt in those two.
Yeah, absolutely.
It guarantees if you
Exactly.
keep seeing it continue the way it is now with the comedy. I'd say by the end of next year, you'll probably see Rusev and English split. You're probably going to see Aiden English get axed. He'll probably be released, and Rusev will just be lost in the abyss.
yeah. Hopefully that don't happen.
I hope so. I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't.
It does not happen. Well, we got the Royal Rumble this Sunday coming up. I've already asked you, McShaft. I'll ask you again. I want to ask Chris, who's your pick for win the Royal Rumble, McShaft?
Oh man, I'm gonna say Finn Balor.
Chris?
I don't know. That's a really, really hard choice. Honestly, I think there's a lot of ways it could go, but this is the one thing that always upsets me is that WWE usually will try to go a crazy direction with it, put it on somebody who doesn't really deserve it.
Batista. Roman Reigns.
Just saying.
Just pick one wrestler. Just pick.
Well, let me look over this list. You got so many great people. I like how they have John Cena here at the very top, though. Watch, he'll probably win it, end up breaking the record or some stupid crap like that. But honestly, gosh, if I had to pick one, just one. I can't pick two. We can't have a dual champion.
Yeah.
Split it. Pull a Big Show Rock. I'm gonna pull one out of nowhere though. Honestly, I'm gonna go someone either like Samoa Joe, just because it'd be shock value and propel him back up, or it's gonna be somebody completely crap like John Cena.
Do you think, though, that Samoa Joe is going to be well enough with his ankle injury to be back at Royal Rumble?
I think they would push it either way. Just make him come in last, make him seem like a force, and do something dumb because that's the WWE way.
Have a dominant heel.
Supposedly, they're saying not until like March, first week of March, for him to be able to come back.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because of how bad his ankle was.
Yeah.
I don't know. They could. If they throw him in last, like you said, he'd not have to do too much.
Yeah, and they could hold him out all the way until then.
Yeah.
Until he's ready for the show.
Yeah, they can because they could basically have him do some.
My biggest thing right now about the Royal Rumble thing is you got to look at who the champion is, who they want to build the WrestleMania. So you're either going to have Lesnar or you're probably going to have Strowman. I think they might give it to Strowman. But here's the thing, though. When you look at those two characters of Strowman and Lesnar, who are you really going to think that they're going to want to put up against? Against
someone big.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm hoping not Roman Reigns again.
Yeah.
But if you look at Finn Balor, they're doing good by putting him back with the club and kind of building him up a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe they might try to give him that rematch that he never had.
Yeah. He's never had his rematch.
But you got to think too. For WrestleMania, they really like to play. They don't like to play the whole David and Goliath thing for stuff like that. They like to play the whole monster versus monster, big guy versus big guy.
Unless you see it become something like a triple threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where maybe we may not win it, but then in the lead up to Mania, it becomes a topic of conversation that snowballs into something more.
What if Lesnar retains and then Strowman comes into the Rumble after the heavyweight title match and wins it?
And it's monster versus monster.
Yeah,
See?
that's right. That'd be awesome.
Even though they've done it twice already, but still,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah, I'd like to see Strowman and Lesnar go at it again. I definitely would, and have it be longer than what Great Balls of Fire was during that pay-per-view. You know, I mean, there's. I don't want to go all into that.
or
but
like you're saying,
yeah,
if
there's.
Cena wins and Strowman beats Lesnar, Strowman versus Cena for the title at Mania,
I could see it.
Yeah,
use
Yeah.
that, have Strowman go over Cena at WrestleMania and build his character up to be the big monster.
And then John Cena finally put somebody over. Ha!
yeah.
Like his comb
Yeah.
over.
Oh.
What else we got on the notes here?
How about that women's Royal
I
Rumble?
want to see a Baron
The women's
Corbin,
Royal Rumble?
Baron Corbin, John Cena hair versus hair.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
Women's Royal Rumble. I'm gonna have to go with Asuka.
Won't be much of a stipulation there.
Honestly, I would have to go with Asuka as well, and I feel like with the build, when she got injured in NXT, I think it was perfect timing.
Yeah.
So you can preserve her undefeated streak and keep things rolling, and I think that she honestly is probably the best women's wrestler they have in ability. Maybe not in promo ability, but in wrestling ability, bar none.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna do like you said a few minutes ago, triple threat. I think they're gonna have someone like Sasha Banks win it and eliminate Asuka. Asuka's gonna start attacking Sasha Banks because she's pissed because she eliminated her. Then you're gonna have Charlotte, Asuka, and Sasha Banks.
Well,
Oh, that'd be
you
good.
guys are forgetting one thing that's been going on in the last few weeks.
Enzo Amore.
No, not that. We're gonna
Oh, that's later.
we're gonna get to that.
Yep.
You know what? Enzo is so important. I forgot about it already.
Well, this
Oh.
apparently I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ronda Rousey make an appearance in this Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
Because
but-
she's
And
been-
win it.
She's
I
been in
think,
talks.
I think she will. She'll make an appearance,
Oh.
but she's not gonna win it though.
It's not talks.
They're not gonna give.
She is signed.
Yeah, she was.
She has signed a 2-year deal.
But they're not gonna give her the WrestleMania moment right away like that. They won't.
No, I could see her in the Royal
They
Rumble,
won't.
but
She's still too green as a wrestler to be
Yeah.
given that. High
I mean, unless
But I
her
could
ability's
see-
good.
I could see her doing this. I could see her eliminating Asuka,
Oh.
and then that right there,
Baddest
is
woman
a
on the
WrestleMania
planet
match
versus the
right
Empress
there.
of
Asuka
Tomorrow.
versus Ronda Rousey.
I mean, that could.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
If that happens, then
Yeah.
I change my vote. If that happens,
Yeah.
then I will be hoping that someone like Nia Jax wins the Women's Rumble. So you got Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax.
Oh, that'd be. I mean,
What, two people that are just going to
now
injure each
here-
other?
Let me just say
well,
this
you know,
here.
you know, be a good one too. And I don't think she's gonna win it though. But could you imagine if Naomi wins it, and then imagine the glow entrance at WrestleMania?
Oh my God, I want
That
it.
would be. That'd be such.
Actually, you know
We
what?
saw it
I'm
last
changing
year.
my pick.
We saw it last year.
Yeah, but
Now you mentioned,
last year was outdoor.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Now you mentioned Enzo Amore. It looks like Enzo Amore is fired. He's gone. from
He's
WWE.
fired.
Fired. He is fired and
hoping
gone from the WWE.
Apparently,
Apparently,
fire like 10 years ago.
apparently, what you were talking about earlier, McShaft,
I
you
never
said
cared
that crazy.
I never cared for him. Sorry.
I know a lot. I used to care for him, and then when he became this Eric, the way he's become, I just didn't care for him.
I
just
met
started
him
not
and
caring.
Cass at NXT
Um,
Live, and I'm telling you what, and they wrestled that night. I didn't really care for Enzo very much at all.
We didn't mention this last week, but I want to throw this out here. Congratulations to the first 2018 WWE Hall of Fame inductee, Goldberg.
Oh boy.
Goldberg.
Oh man. Oh
We're
man.
at Jericho. Hey, Greenberg!
I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot.
Yeah, Bill Greenberg. And well, Enzo's been accused of sexual assault from a young woman from Phoenix, Arizona. In October of last year, he sexually assaulted allegedly. Now, there's a lot of things with this right here because, for one thing, WWE has a zero tolerance thing. So they basically, like you mentioned before, McShaft, you said that he kind of denied it, didn't hint up on it backstage.
Here's the interesting part about that whole story.
Where did you read this at?
Well, the most interesting part about this whole story is how Enzo's supposed 2 friends, which they list their Instagram and Twitter names and stuff on there and everything.
Right.
Supposedly, they're the ones that kind of brought this girl into the whole like party that was going on. And they're the ones that introduced her to Enzo. And supposedly they're the ones that got her, like, I guess, really drunk before Enzo kind of made his thing on her. So, you never know.
Allegedly.
Right,
Yeah, allegedly.
So,
yes.
that leads, and supposedly this girl is saying that that's not the first time these 2 friends of Enzo's have done this. So, it's like, first of all, how many times, if allegedly, has actually happened?
Right.
If she's going to be the first and only, or are there going to be more that come out because of this? And who are these other 2 people that, the spotlight's not really shining on that really need to be held just as accountable as Enzo is?
Right.
Who are these other 2 people? Someone said that one of them was in wrestling, so I don't know if that's true or not, but, who are these other 2 people?
That's a very good point.
Yeah, that's a really good point. But one thing about this girl, she's lied a few times already about things, about a lot of stuff, because she has a YouTube page, and this girl seems a little bit crazy.
Cuckoo?
Yeah, a little bit cuckoo.
It's good, just...
She must be a Roman Reigns fan.
But with WWE having a zero tolerance policy, they basically did want to keep away from this. And so they suspended him, they stripped him of the belt, then they fired him.
Well, the firing was because supposedly he lied to WWE when they asked him, is any of this true? What's going on? He said, no, there's no allegations, nothing of all this, it's just hearsay. And then a few hours later, they confirmed 100% that it was true. There are allegations of sexual assault against him. So he straight up lied and held information from WWE during the day of the 25th anniversary, which is a huge media event for WWE.
Yeah.
And then that breaks over top of that.
Yeah, that
which just steals its thunder.
Yeah, it does. It does. It stole its thunder. And it's just ridiculous. Goes along with Me Too moment of everything that's been happening with a lot of stuff. Now, this ain't the only thing that's happened within the last few weeks. Apparently, we didn't talk about this last week. I don't think we did, McShaft, about the steroid scandal, and Roman Reigns' name was pinned in the steroid scandal ring that was busted up in Miami with Richard Rodriguez. Richard Rodriguez is an owner of a fitness nutrition company based out of Miami, and they've been doing an operation on him, a sting operation, for quite a while. They busted him last year. He's in jail. They had this film documentary guy come in and was talking to him. I guess he wanted to get time cut off his sentence. He threw out some names, high-profile names that people know about, that was basically getting steroids from his steroid operation. Mark Wahlberg, Josh Hamill, and Roman Reigns' name was mentioned. Now, Roman Reigns, we knew a couple years ago, he got suspended for 30 days because of a drug violation, but it wasn't steroids. It was Adderall that was in his system. And quickly, Roman Reigns came out with a statement and denied it and said, I don't know this guy, never heard of him or anything. Now, the question is, it's like apparently with the internet buzzing about what WrestleMania 34 main event's going to be, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, which no one wants to see, which a lot of people don't want to see, except if you're a casual fan. But besides that, now with this breaking right around the road, the start to the road to WrestleMania with the Royal Rumble, okay, with this going on. Now, in the past, they've had steroid allegations. Remember the one back in 2007 and 2008? And a lot of people were named, with Randy Orton and other people. Now, WWE has a case of taking their high-profile superstars, and when stuff like this happens, they like to sweep it underneath the rug because that's going to destroy stuff like storylines and everything that they're going. Now, do you think they're going to sweep this underneath the rug and ignore it and continue on with their plans of what having WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, with Lesnar versus Reigns, or do you think this statement that was released? Do you think it's all Roman, or was it WWE that basically said, "Here, this is your statement"? What the hell's the deal? What do you guys think?
They're just going to sweep underneath the rug. They're not going to do much with it. It's not making like these huge national headlines right now or anything like super big.
Yeah.
So they're not going to really worry about it.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot backing it, so what really are they going to do with it? And in their type of industry, this is something that is more commonplace than in other industries. So at the end of the day, you have no choice really at this point but to do it right under the rug.
Right. Okay. Now, I believe that, yeah, there's not enough backing this story. It's not big as what Enzo. I mean, that's the biggest thing right there because that's accurate because of everything that's happening. This right here is just his name was dropped, and I think it's good that he actually came out with a statement, or whoever or whatever his people and him denying this. No, saying something is better than saying nothing at all.
Right.
You know, so that's what's good.
Well, on a positive note here now, because there's been a few negatives here. On a positive note, so Ring of Honor has they come up with their Super Card of Honor here. I think in March or April, I think it is Super Card of Honor, and they announced that Kota Ibushi is going to be signed for the event wrestling. They haven't announced a major card yet though, but
Yeah.
Kota Ibushi is going to be wrestling at the event. They signed him for Super Card of Honor. They currently started their Women of Honor tournament to crown their first ever Women of Honor champion.
Yeah, how's
the new belt.
how's that going?
Well, starting this week is the tournament, and they've already announced one no disqualification match for it. I think Brandy Rhodes is going to be involved in the tournament too as well.
That's awesome.
Yep. And they made an announcement that they're going to be in February doing a tour of Australia.
Really?
So they're going to be coming back to the U.S. this year. For a few shows, and their current next big event in Osaka on February, I think it was the 10th, has already been sold out for over a week.
Damn, that's freaking awesome.
So Ring of Honor is doing amazing right now.
Oh yeah,
Castle, current champion, people are loving it. I believe the Young Bucks and Hangman Page are still the 6-man tag team champions.
Yes.
You got the Kingdom that's kind of feuding with them right now. Awesome group right there. I mean, it's amazing what they're doing right now. It is. It definitely is. And back to New Japan, if you know that, Jericho's still doing some stuff over. Chris Jericho's still doing some stuff with New Japan right now.
Yeah, he's doing stuff with Naito.
Yep.
Naito.
And then as well too, they teased Jay White was going to join the Bullet Club, and he didn't.
Yes.
He also released a new Switchblade Jay White T-shirt that's kind of like a Bullet Club kind of style to it, which looks amazing. So, Ring of Honor is doing amazing right now. I am much more hyped for anything New Japan and Ring of Honor than I am for anything WWE right now. Mm-hmm. Just because, I mean, the product they're putting out as far as wrestling-wise is so much better.
It is.
I understand the difference in the promotions as far as WWE being, sports entertainment, how they do a lot more, promos, in-depth storyline things. But to be honest, as far as wrestling-wise, I'd rather see more wrestling than backstage promos. And the wrestling ability so far out of New Japan coming out and Ring of Honor definitely is outshining and outclassing WWE.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, it is. It definitely is. I mean, Wrestle Kingdom and the day after Wrestle Kingdom, the New Year's Bash. Mm-hmm. That right there, New Year's... Am I saying that right? New Year's Bash or New Year's Dash?
I think that's what it was. I think it was Bash, I think.
New Year's Dash, actually, I think.
But like I said,
it's doing great. The promotion's doing great. It's doing awesome, and New Japan is definitely doing some really good stuff there. I mean, there's some stuff on New Japan. Chris has pulled up some stuff here.
Oh, I'm just looking at random things.
Yeah, they also had the Tokyo Sports Pro Wrestling Awards. Mm-hmm. Kenny Omega got an award. Okada got an award. See, there's Osaka sold out for a new beginning, February 10th. So that's already sold out right now. looks like Okada's facing. Looks like is that Sonata? I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah.
It's either Evil or Sonata. I think it's Sonata.
Yep, and like you said, they're heading to Australia in February, and they're really trying to expand their brand and get themselves out there. And they'll be having a show, or I'm sorry, a small tour starting Friday, February 16th, at Titanium Arena in Adelaide, or however you say it. I don't know how Australians say it. Whatever. But
They're going to Melbourne on the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Sydney. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
yeah, but then ending in Perth.
Oh, man.
Perth, oh man. And like who's already confirmed, Minoru Suzuki's going to be there, Okada, Tanahashi, Cody, the Young Bucks. It's going to be great.
And more.
Fallout Down Under, that's awesome.
Fallout Down Under. Hell
That's a
yeah.
great name of a show.
New Japan's
It is.
doing awesome by doing their like little world tour expansion thing.
They are.
And, you know,
They are.
Ring of Honor, too. I mean, you know, they continue to have amazing shows. They're coming back to Florida here, to Lakeland. Pre-sale tickets went on sale today. And, I mean, I can't wait to go see them again. We had fun at the last event. And I think that, I mean, we've been to, you know, several NXT live shows in Daytona.
Right.
But, you know, to be honest, with as fun as I've had at those, the Ring of Honor event blew me away as far as, you know, how good it was.
Yeah. It's
So much
been,
better.
It's been amazing. It has been amazing. Well, gentlemen, I believe that's about it.
Oh, you want to give a quick shout out to somebody that just followed you on Twitter there?
Yeah. Actually, on the network.
On the network. Oh, okay, let's give a shout
For
out.
the one and only Podcast City Network.
Yeah.
Podcast City Network.
Yeah. Let me pull.
We want to give a thank you and a shout out here.
That's right. This is amazing. I mentioned to you guys on the Podcast City Network, I said this person went ahead and followed us. Want to give a shout out to Ring of Honor announcer Nick Lindell for following Podcast City Network. And Nick, you can mention about the Podcast City Network on their official website, podcastcity.net, where you can check out the Everett Lee Show, ELS Uncut, Films a Classic, coming soon, the Chris Carnage Show,
Yeah.
the Imaginarium Podcast with Scott and Todd, and Super Radio Brothers Podcast, and coming soon, Forking Around with Cody, and the Grimlock Show. You can check all those podcasts out at podcastcity.net. You can follow Podcast City on Facebook at facebook.com/Podcast City Network, and follow Podcast City Network on Twitter at Podcast City Net. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Chris. I want to thank McShaft for joining me in
I like it when he thinks my McShaft.
on. I want to thank you guys for joining me on this segment of the In-Ring Report.
Do it! Just do it! No, what are you waiting for? Do it!
Want more ELS? The Everett Lee Show podcast is available at the following. Download the audio version of this podcast and previous podcast at everettleeshow.libsyn.com, stitcher.com, Everett Lee Show. Leave us a rating and a comment in the comments section. iTunes, subscribe to ELS, the Everett Lee Show on iTunes. Give us a rating and a comment. For the video version of this podcast and previous podcasts, visit youtube.com, Everett Lee Show. For interview segments, visit dailymotion.com/Everett Lee Show.
Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it!
ELS, the Everett Lee Show, is your shot of entertainment to the head. There you have it. This week on the Everett Lee Show, I want to thank McShaft and Chris Carnage for doing what they do, man. It's just, it's great. It's great hanging out with those guys. And just like old times, talking about wrestling. We haven't done that in a long time. And I want to mention right here, that was recorded in the middle of the week, the In-Ring Report segment. During the week, a lot of news has broke. There's been plans for WrestleMania plans for The Miz. It looks like they're going to do something with Braun Strowman and The Miz for WrestleMania. I want to mention that. A lot of sites like Wrestling Zone, Wrestling Inc. have been reporting that The Miz will be doing some kind of role with Braun Strowman for WrestleMania this year. Also, it was just announced yesterday. Vince McMahon announced the relaunch of the XFL coming in 2020. Now, there's been a lot of hate and a lot of stuff going on saying it's going to fail again or it's going to succeed. I listened to the press conference. It looks like McMahon this time around, to me, has basically got the right people in the right places that's going to make this work. I'm going to give it a shot again. I am. When the XFL came out in 2001, it was innovating, new, and something a little bit different, but it only lasted one season, and that was it. But I'm willing to give it a shot. I am. I'm definitely willing to give it another shot when it's released in 2020. And that's about it for this episode of The Everett Lee Show. Want to mention, again, you can check out this podcast on the Podcast City Network. You can head over to podcastcity.net. You can listen to The Everett Lee Show, ELS Uncut, Films a Classic, The Imaginarium podcast with Scott Colbert, Todd Starutch, and the Super Radio Brothers podcast. Coming soon, the Grimlock Show and the Chris Carnage Show. You can follow Podcast City Network over on Facebook, facebook.com/Podcast City Network, and on Twitter at Podcast City Net. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for downloading and listening to The Everett Lee Show. I will see you again next week for an all-new episode of The Everett Lee Show. Everett Lee signing off. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again.